What's up, y'all? It's your boy T Jizzle. Today we're gonna be reacting to another video. This one sounds very, very interesting. The worst parkour deaths ever. So if you wanna watch the original video, link's gonna be in the description down below, as well as the channel, TikTok, and my Twitch. Let's get to the video.
Wu Yongning. On November 8, 2017, Wu Yongning arrived at the Huayuanhua Center in Changsha, China. The 62-story building stood 721 feet tall in the capital of Hunan province. Wu was 26 years old. He was about to attempt his most dangerous stunt yet. Wu had worked as a movie stuntman and martial arts practitioner
Oh, it's
before
hype shit.
discovering roof-topping. The practice of climbing tall buildings without safety equipment had made him famous on Weibo, China's version of Twitter. He had over
First of all, here's one thing that I've learned about people that do parkour. None of them are black. We don't be doing this stupid shit, bro. Like, what you doing? You playing with life. People be wishing they have their life back, bro. And you over there playing with it. Man, we ain't doing this shit, bro.
60,000 followers. His videos showed him dangling from skyscrapers by his
Man,
fingertips,
heck
doing
no.
pull-ups on the edges of buildings, and performing handstands on narrow beams hundreds of feet in the air.
No.
Wu needed money badly because his mother was sick and needed medical treatment. His girlfriend Jin Jin was waiting for a proposal. Wu had promised her they would marry soon, but the bills were too much for him. A sponsor had offered to pay him 100,000 yuan, roughly $15,000, for one video, one perfect stunt. All Wu had to do was climb the Huayuanhua Center and perform pull-ups from the roof's edge. He had done this hundreds of times before on other buildings. This time would be no different. Wu gripped the edge of the building and lowered himself over the side. His fingers wrapped around the ledge and began his pull-ups. At one point, Wu tried to pull himself back onto the roof, but he couldn't. That was when he knew something was wrong. His muscles were not responding. Fatigue had set in faster than expected. He hung there, clinging to the edge. 15 seconds passed. His fingers began to slip as he could not get a better grip. Wu's arms shook from the strain, and he fell to his death. The camera captured him dropping out of frame. He descended 45 feet before landing on a terrace below. A window washer discovered his body the next morning. Remy Lucidi.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
On July 27, 2023, Remy Lucidi checked into a hostel in Tsim Sha Tsui, Hong Kong. The 30-year-old Frenchman had been staying there for 10 days. Lucidi was known as Remy Enigma on Instagram. He had thousands of followers who watched him climb buildings across the world. His feed showed stunning photos from rooftops in Dubai, Bulgaria, France, Thailand, Colombia, Poland, and Portugal. He specialized in unauthorized climbs of skyscrapers, cranes, bridges, and transmission towers.
I ain't doing
That
that
evening
shit.
around 6 p.m., Lucidi arrived at the Tregunter Tower, a residential skyscraper in Hong Kong's upscale mid-levels area. The building stood 721 feet tall with 68 floors. A security guard stopped him at the gate, but Lucidi told the guard he was visiting a friend on the 40th floor. He gave a specific apartment number. The guard allowed him. The elevator took him up. CCTV footage showed him arriving on the 49th floor. Then he disappeared into a stairwell. He climbed the remaining floors on foot. At 7:30 p.m., a maid inside a 68th floor penthouse apartment heard knocking on the window. She turned and saw a man outside. He was standing on a narrow ledge. He was knocking frantically on the glass. His face showed panic. The maid screamed and called the police immediately. She described a man trapped outside who needed help urgently. Officers were dispatched to Tregunter Tower. Before they arrived, Lucidi lost his footing and fell from the 68th floor. Police found his body at the scene. Pavel Kashin. On July...
Bro, how thick was that glass, bro? Bro, 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 I'm telling you. Oh, well, he couldn't do that because he would have lost balance, huh? Yeah, well, I guess he's cooked then.
July 6, 2013, Pavel Kashin climbed to a rooftop in St. Petersburg, Russia. He was 24 years old and one of Russia's most well-known freerunners. He had spent years perfecting his craft. Parkour was his life. Kashin specialized in urban acrobatics. He could flip, vault, and leap across city obstacles with precision. His videos showed him running across rooftops, jumping between buildings, and performing backflips on narrow surfaces. Everything looked effortless. He made it look easy. That afternoon, Kashin stood on the edge of a 16-story building. A small group of friends and fellow traceurs watched from a safe distance. They had seen him do this move before. It was one of his signature stunts, a standing backflip on the roof's edge. The technique required perfect balance and timing. Plant both feet, spring backward, rotate in the air, land solidly on the same spot. Any miscalculation meant disaster. Kashin positioned himself carefully. His toes were inches from the edge. He could see the drop behind him, 16 stories straight down. He had
Ooh,
practiced this
excuse me.
move
Say
hundreds
blessing.
of times on ground level. He had done it on rooftops before. He knew he could do it again. He bent his knees and sprung backward. His body rotated through the air. The backflip was clean, but when he came down, his footing was off by inches. One foot landed on the edge. The other foot landed on nothing. His balance shifted. He tried to restore balance, but his arms windmilled. For a split second, it looked like he might recover, but he fell backward, nearly 200 feet off the building. Witnesses watched in horror as Kashin dropped 16 stories without any way to stop himself. He died on impact. Yuri Eliseev. On November 8,
Man.
2016,
So 2 niggas on this list have died on November 8th, dog. Bro, he playing chess. Like I just said, bro, you're not gonna see no black person on this list. And I guarantee you you're not. We don't do this shit, bro. We don't. Stupidity.
Yuri Eliseev's life took an
I'm not
unexpected
saying
turn in his
that
apartment in
Caucasians are
Moscow,
stupid, but
Russia.
it's like,
He
bro,
was
why you
20
playing with
years
your
old
life like
and
this,
a
bro?
chess grandmaster. He had won the World Under-16 Chess Championship in 2012. His entire young life was defined by chess. But Eliseev developed a new hobby, parkour. He enjoyed the physical challenge after spending so much time sitting at chessboards. That evening, Eliseev stood on his apartment balcony on the 12th floor. His girlfriend was inside the apartment. They had been together for a while. She knew about his parkour interest.
Type
She
shit.
had seen him practice moves before, but he was not an experienced tresseur. He was still learning. Eliseev decided to attempt a parkour move on the balcony railing. He stepped up onto the railing and tried to execute the move. Suddenly, he lost his balance. His foot slipped and he fell from the balcony. His girlfriend heard the commotion. She rushed outside, but Yuri was gone. She looked over the edge and saw him far below. She called emergency services immediately. By the time paramedics arrived, there was nothing they could do. Yuri Eliseev was pronounced dead at the scene. AF. In March 2019, a 17-year-old Russian teenager arrived in Ankara, Turkey. He was
17,
visiting from
dog.
Russia. His name was reported only as AF in Turkish media. He was interested in parkour and urban exploration. Ankara's skyline offered plenty of buildings to explore, high rises, rooftops, places where a young tresseur could test his skills away from home. AF had done parkour in Russia. He felt confident in his abilities. That day, AF climbed to the roof of a 7-story building. Another rooftop sat nearby. The gap between buildings was not enormous, maybe 8 to 10 feet. For an
Oh, I'm
experienced
jumping that.
tresseur, this was a routine jump. Run, leap, land, roll. Simple. AF stood on the edge of the first building. He looked across the gap. The other rooftop was at roughly the same height, maybe slightly lower. The distance looked manageable. He backed up to get a running start. He took several deep breaths. Then he sprinted toward the edge. He was flying across the gap between buildings, but he did not make it. His trajectory fell short. Instead of landing on the other rooftop, he dropped into the gap between the buildings. He fell 7 stories down into the narrow space. People on the street heard the impact and called emergency services. Paramedics arrived and found AF in the alley between buildings, but he was already dead. Nye Frankie Newman. On
Man.
December 2nd, 2016, Nye Frankie Newman met his end in Paris, France. He was a British freerunner and urban explorer. At 17 years old, he had built a reputation for daring stunts in
17
rooftop
again.
photography. His friends knew him as fearless.
Oh, shit.
That night, Newman was with companions exploring Paris. They had been moving through various urban locations. At some point, the group approached the Paris metro system. The subway trains ran underground and above ground on certain routes. Newman and his friends decided to attempt train surfing. This involved riding on top of moving metro trains. It was illegal.
This ain't Subway Surfers? Bro, who was you? Tricky? Jake? Fresh? What, you trying to collect some boom boxes? Huh? What, you trying to collect some guitars for that punk rock dude? What's his name? Bro trying to save up his coins so he can buy Fresh Prince. That's what he trying to do. He trying to get some keys, bro.
Illegal and extremely dangerous, but it was also popular among some urban explorers who filmed the experience for social media. Newman stuck his
Man,
head out while on top
hell
of a moving
no.
train and made contact with the tunnel entrance. The impact was instant. Newman suffered catastrophic head trauma. He was pronounced dead at the scene. St. Petersburg woman. In 2012,
See,
a 24-year-old woman in St. Petersburg, Russia, decided to try parkour for the first time. She had friends who were experienced
oh
tracers.
shit. First
They
female on the
practiced
list.
regularly
First
the
woman
city's
on the list.
rooftops. She wanted to join them. They met on the rooftop of a building in the city. The exact location was not publicly disclosed. The building was approximately 17 stories tall. Her friends were there to teach her the basics and show her how the moves were done. The session started normally. At some point, one of the tresseurs performed a gap jump. It was a move they had done many times before. They made it look easy. Then she decided to give it a try. Her friends advised against it. Beginners should not attempt advanced moves, but she wanted to try. She stepped up to make the jump. She ran forward and leapt, but she did not have the technique. She did not have the experience. She did not have the muscle memory that comes from years of practice. As she attempted the jump, she missed the landing completely. She fell from the 17-story building. Her friends watched in absolute horror. There was nothing they could do. She dropped over 170 feet to the ground below and died on impact.
Damn.
This game, you're not ready for it.
Hooked.
David Harrison. On July 29, 2018, David Harrison was 15 years old.
Oh. Ooh, I try to like the video, cuz. Yeah.
On July 29, 2018, David Harrison was in downtown West Palm Beach,
He looks
Florida,
16.
with friends. He was 24 years old
Oh,
and
shit.
passionate about parkour. He had practiced for years and considered himself experienced. That night, the group was exploring the city's urban landscape. They found a building that offered interesting opportunities: walls to climb, ledges to balance on, obstacles to vault. It was the kind of location parkour enthusiasts looked for. On August 1st, Harrison attempted a move with his friends near the building. During the attempt, he made contact with electrical equipment. High-voltage electricity surged through his body. The shock was instant and powerful. He collapsed immediately. Emergency services arrived and transported Harrison to a local hospital. His injuries were severe: head trauma, internal damage, broken bones. For weeks, Harrison remained hospitalized. Despite medical intervention, Harrison's condition did not improve. On August 22,
Took him off the
2018,
plug.
at 4:30 a.m., he died from his injuries. Johnny Turner. On
Damn.
September 13, 2019, Johnny Turner, a 28-year-old, was in central London near Waterloo
That was the
Station.
first
He
death
was a
I swear it
well-known
wasn't
figure in London's
like
urban exploration community.
immediate
Turner
death.
did not just
It was an
practice
instant
parkour.
death.
He also explored abandoned buildings, construction sites, and places most people never saw.
Yeah, see see, that's another example, bro. Them abandoned buildings. That's what I'm saying. They like to investigate, bro. We don't investigate shit. We not doing that, bro. Especially if we know something's there. Why would we go investigate? Well, we running, bro. Yet we the first to die in every single movie. It's crazy.
He called himself an urban explorer. That day, Turner climbed scaffolding on a building under construction. The scaffolding rose 8 stories high. For an experienced climber like Turner, this was routine. He had scaled far more dangerous structures. The scaffolding provided good hand and footholds. Metal bars ran vertically and horizontally. It was like a giant jungle gym. Turner moved upward with confidence. But something went wrong near
Nigga,
the
that's
top.
Donkey Kong,
Maybe
bro.
a bar was not secured properly, or he misjudged a grip. Whatever the cause, Turner fell. He dropped 8 stories through the scaffolding structure. The metal bars struck him repeatedly on the way down. Each impact caused more damage. He hit the ground at the bottom. Workers at the site immediately called emergency services. Paramedics arrived within minutes, but Johnny Turner was pronounced dead at the scene. Tyreek Riley. On March 12,
See?
2015, Tyreek Riley and his friends were on a Brooklyn rooftop. Riley was 15 years old.
Oh, no. No. No.
He and his friend.
Oh man, bro, everything I said about black people not being on the list and we doing all this too, don't ever listen to what I gotta say. Obviously what I said was false. Apparently we are this stupid.
Were on a Brooklyn rooftop. Riley was 15 years old. It was evening.
And
Boys
he's
were
the
hanging
youngest
out,
on. Oh
talking, and
no.
moving around the building's roof. Someone suggested trying to jump to the next building. The gap between rooftops was approximately 10 feet. The buildings were similar in height. For experienced traceurs, this would be a manageable jump. But Riley and his friends were not trained parkour athletes. They were teenagers attempting something they had seen in videos. Riley decided to try the jump first. He backed up to get a running start. His friends watched from a safe distance. He sprinted toward the edge of the building. For a moment, his body was airborne above the gap. Then, gravity took over. Riley came up short. He did not make the distance. Instead of landing on the other rooftop, he dropped into the gap between buildings. He fell multiple stories to the ground below. His friends screamed and ran to look over the edge. They could see Riley lying motionless far below. They immediately called for help. The paramedics arrived at 4:30 p.m. and found Riley unresponsive. He had suffered catastrophic injuries from the fall. Despite medical efforts, Tyreek Riley later died. If you'd like to see more stories like this, make sure to subscribe and feel free to drop suggestions for the next video in the comments.
I'm so mad that of course he was the last person on the list. Nah, bro. See, obviously they feel thrill. You know what I'm saying? Where do you get the thrill in that though? Like, what makes you want to say, oh, I wanna go jump from that building to that building to that building. Yeah, I want to risk my life today. Like, nigga, what? I'm not risking shit. But yeah, bro, if you want to watch the original video, channel gonna be in the description as well as the original video, my TikTok and my Twitch. Peace.